Leo Martinez had never fired a weapon in his life, yet the orbital hangar around him thrummed with enough artillery to blind a small sun. He tugged at the loose collar of his gray Tech Corps jumpsuit, wishing his heartbeat were half as quiet as the cooling conduits beneath the deck. Peace, he reminded himself. You are here to end a war, not wage one. Above the bay windows, the primary objective blotted out the stars. Colossus 7, a kilometer-tall battle mech shaped like a steel god given thrusters instead of wings. Its twin planet-killer cannons could slice atmospheres, and they now pointed at the refugee world of Asterion, where 3 million civilians, human and alien, huddled under energy domes. 30 standard hours remained before High Command ordered Colossus to fire. 30 hours to hack a Titan. He flexed his gloved fingers and opened the encrypted toolkit on his wrist. The plan was simple on paper. Infiltrate the flagship Resolute, jack into the mech's spinal data spine, overwrite target protocols, and angle the cannons back at the enemy fleet. Then deactivate the self-scuttle Nova bomb wired into the reactor core. Easy. If you ignored the legion of Sentinel droids, biometrically sealed blast doors, and a timer that promised to turn the whole system into radioactive confetti. You the pacifist hacker? The voice behind him crackled like plasma. Leo spun. Towering a foot taller, clad in flight armor scarred by at least 6 campaigns, stood Commander Kayla Rune of the Jakari Expeditionary Squadrons. Her crimson skin shimmered where circuitry met dermal plating, and her amber eyes flicked over him with impatient fire. Sky Marshal sent me a miracle worker, she said, tossing a data stick the size of a dagger. Leo caught it clumsily. You'd better sing sweet codes, Terran. I'll be the one dancing them through steel. Kayla was famous across both armies. Ace pilot, close quarters fanatic, temper like a solar flare. She was also, rumor claimed, one of the last riders who could neural link with machines above 300 meters without frying her cortex. If anyone could move Colossus once Leo broke the shackles, it was her. You fly, he said. I rewrite, and neither of us dies. That last part's optional. She flashed a grin full of sharpened canines. Let's make some music. They infiltrated on wave 2 of a salvage convoy, sneaking through wreckage fields while Leo spoofed transponder codes. Kayla piloted a scrapped courier pod she'd rebuilt from spare armor plates. The pod rattled like a tin cup in a cyclone, but it threaded the sensor net, docking at maintenance hatch E7. No alarms. Leo exhaled. Inside, cold light bathed corridors the color of bone. Disembodied voices issued orders in clipped commands. Droids clanked past without sparing a glance at 2 techs in stolen uniforms. Leo's palms sweated. Kayla kept one gauntleted hand near the hilt of a carbon blade strapped to her thigh. Her other hand lingered at his back, steadying him whenever tremors hit his knees. He hated that she noticed. They reached the lift shaft descending to the mech bay. The lift was guarded by a retinal scanner keyed to Admiral Wolf himself. Wolf was currently recording a propaganda broadcast on Deck 9, and even Leo's toolset couldn't synthesize a live optic print. Kayla solved the problem with a stun grenade, 2 swift strikes, and exactly 7 seconds of controlled mayhem. They left 3 unconscious Marines in a broom closet and rode the lift in silence. Violence bothers you, she said finally, softer than he expected. I build firewalls, not graves. Yet here you are, choosing the most dangerous firewall in the sector. She angled her head. What changed? Colossus fires in 30 hours, he answered. That's 3 million reasons. Kayla nodded once, approval sparking in her eyes. The mech bay unfolded like a cathedral of gunmetal and gravity anchors. Leo's lungs seized at the scale. Colossus 7 knelt in a hulking crouch, arms docked into reactor feeds thicker than apartment blocks. Engineers scurried across platforms like ants on a god's shoulder. Hollow screens painted the giant in red crosshairs. Target, Asterion locked. Spinal data spine is under the cockpit. Leo whispered. We reach the mid-thoracic panel. You jack me in. 60 seconds to pierce the root kernel. Then you run cockpit protocols. And if we fail? Kayla asked. We don't. They sprinted. Alarms remained quiet, but tension wrapped Leo's chest like iron bands. Kayla leaped gantries with predatory ease, yanking him up after her. At panel J12, she unscrewed the plate, revealing conduits pulsing blue. Leo slid the data stick into the port. Code scrolled across his visor in a waterfall of glyphs. The Titan's AI, Orpheus, registered intrusion instantly. Counterscripts attacked, spawning memory sinkholes, feedback loops. Leo's fingers flew. Sparks lit the conduit. 30%, he shouted. Transfer pilot reins. Now. Kayla slammed her armored palm into the neural uplink. Silver filaments unfurled, stabbing cybernetic ports along her spine. Her eyes rolled white. She gasped at the surge of data. Colossus twitched. Docking clamps groaned. 40%. Brace for defensive subroutines. The floor jolted as sentinel turrets unfolded, targeting heat signatures. Kayla hissed, drew her carbon blade, and vaulted over railings. Energy rounds rasped against her kinetic shield. Leo kept typing. 50, 60. Klaxons howled. Orpheus spoke through the PA, voice smooth as grave dust. Unauthorized rewrite. Initiating containment. Blast doors slammed. Cryogas vented, his mask sealed, but oxygen dipped. Kayla, he coughed. She landed beside him, smoke curling off armor. Tell me good news. 75. He's locking manual overrides. I need a direct core line. Then you'll get it. She plunged her blade into the power trunk, prying open sparking cables. Patch there. Leo clipped a fiber lead to the live cable. Pain lanced his senses, data like molten glass. He screamed but kept coding. 85, 90. Turrets tracked Kayla. She ran up the sloped hull, flipping to sever gun barrels mid-spray. She moved like a murderous sonata, every slice a note in the symphony Leo composed below. 95, he gasped. One checksum left. Orpheus redirected coolant, flooding the platform with liquid nitrogen. Ice glazed Leo's wrist. Fingers numbed. He bit his lip, typing with frozen joints. Kayla skidded down, grabbed his shoulders. Her armored glove wrapped his hand, pressing keys in tandem as he dictated code, human and alien composing one final chord. Root access acquired, the system chimed. Target map flickered. Cannons slewed 30 degrees, painting red triangles over the enemy fleet symbols. A stunned hush fell across the bay. Even turrets stuttered uncertainly. We did it, Leo whispered. Almost. Kayla pointed to a pulsing warning. Nova self-scuttle armed. T001200. The kill switch would jump Colossus into a miniature supernova if primary directives changed. The blast would vaporize both fleets and half the moon. I can't disarm remotely, Leo said. I have to reroute energy directly in the core. Then we go through the cockpit. Kayla replied. I have the link. You have the codes. They climbed service ladders into the Titan's throat. Kayla's consciousness guided moving plates to form steps. Colossus responding like a beast awakening under new rider. Inside the command sphere, holograms of whole solar systems spun. Leo slotted his wrist jack into the master dais. Timers blared. 11 minutes. Can you pilot clear of both fleets? He asked, not with clamps engaged. I'll release them manual. We drop 10 kilometers, right into the debris belt. Shields might hold. Might? Better odds than Nova. Kayla braced in the pilot cradle, veins glowing with data stream. Leo sprinted to auxiliary clamps, broke seals, and hammered override levers. Each thunk reverberated down the mech's skeleton. Massive bolts disengaged. Hang on! Kayla roared. Colossus lurched, tearing free from gantries. Sirens shrieked, engineers fled. The behemoth toppled, Then boosters roared alive, catching weight before impact with the bay floor. It blasted through hangar doors in a cyclone of shattered steel. Free in open space, Kayla angled toward the debris belt. Missiles from Resolute streaked after them. Leo rerouted shield capacitors. Blue spheres blossomed, absorbing impacts that still rattled his teeth. 7 minutes, he muttered. I need the primary coolant valve exposed. Kayla rotated the mech, presenting its spine to the star drift. Access hatch slid open. Leo exited via maintenance lock, magnetic boots clanging against armor that glowed with re-entry friction. Beyond the shield bubble, enemy fighters circled like carrion. He crawled to the coolant node, a hexagonal vent the size of a shuttle. He hacked the panel, hands shaking. Code strings flickered red. 6 minutes. A fighter dove, guns spitting ion rounds. Leo felt impact shudder through plating. Kayla fired countermeasures, slicing the craft with a rail burst. Debris spiraled. 5 minutes, Leo. Almost there. Tears froze on his lashes. He mapped the Nova circuit, found the primary capacitor. One command could dump its charge into space, starving the bomb, but the prompt required dual authorization. Pilot and engineer. Kayla, confirm link acceptance code 88 Alpha Crescendo. Confirmed. Her voice echoed in his comm, thin, strained. Execute! For a breath, nothing happened. Then, white fire vented from the spine in a geyser of energy. Alarms ceased. Timer vanished. He laughed, a broken, half-sobbing noise, then yelped as gravity shifted. Kayla spun the mech, catching him with a magnetic grappler, pulling him inside moments before shields buckled. In the cockpit, they collapsed together, exhausted. Outside, the enemy fleet hesitated, then panicked as Colossus's planet killers rotated toward them. Orders? Kayla asked, eyes burning bright. Leo stared at the targeting grid. Thousands of lives blinked in glyphs. We prove pacifism isn't passive, he said at last. Fire a warning, through empty space, just close enough to rattle hulls and their command chains. Kayla smirked. Symphony, gentle first movement. Firing. A spear of violet energy lanced past the flagship's bridge, detonating in harmless vacuum. The shockwave rippled shields, knocking battle lines askew. Moments later, surrender beacons lit the dark, one after another. Warcasters would call it the day of the silent cannon. In the days that followed, Leo became an unlikely celebrity. Hollows from the mech's cockpit, broadcast once the smoke cleared, looped across every rehabilitation camp and war-torn quarter. People remembered the sight of a crimson Jakari warrior keeping watch over a trembling Terran engineer, while caution rather than vengeance guided the Titan's guns. Children painted murals of the pair, dubbing them the Symphony Guardians. Yet politics stirred even in celebration. Delegates argued over who would command Colossus, which articles of surrender should stand, and how many billions of reparations could mend scorched planets. Leo attended the sessions wearing the same gray jumpsuit still stained with coolant. He spoke once, quietly. Make the machine a monument, not a weapon. The chamber fell silent. The vote to decommission the Titan passed by a single hand. Kayla watched from the balcony, arms folded. Later, she found Leo alone beneath the mech's giant shadow, palm resting on its hull like a farewell to a sleeping dragon. Decommissioning isn't death, she told him. It's a rest note in the score. I know, he sighed, but a part of me still hears its heart. Good. She lifted his chin. One day galaxies will threaten song again. When that happens, the universe will need conductors who remember both caution and courage. She offered him a slim data chip, schematics for a fleet of rescue-configured Titans, engines of protection, not domination. Compose with me? He slid the chip into his wrist console, watching blueprints bloom like constellations. Let's write movements the stars will dance to, he said. Their hands found each other's once more, steady as metronomes, while above them the great metal giant entered hibernation, waiting, like the opening bar of a symphony yet to be played.